Little Match Girl. This story of a poor young little girl who sold matches in the street. This story took a place long, long time ago on New Year's Eve. It was snowing heavily and it was severely cold outside. In the cold and the darkness, there walked along the street a poor little girl. She had no extra clothes to cover herself from the cold, and she had no shoes to save her feet from the freezing cold. She had slippers on when she left home, but they were much too large for her feet. They were her mother's slippers. She sold matches for a living. That day, she left home to sell matches on the street as usual. The girl said, "Oh God, it is snowing heavily. It is too cold today. What will I do? If I don't go to sell the matches, my family will not be able to buy food." She decided to brave the cold and sell matches. She decided to brave the cold and sell matches. She was just about to cross the street when a horse carriage sped toward her. She was scared and she ran across the street to save herself. She had lost both her slippers while she was running. And she said, "Oh, my slippers! I need them. My legs are getting cold." She was just about to cross the street when a boy grabbed her slippers and ran away with them. "Hey, stop! Those are my slippers!" But the boy didn't. He ran away. So the little girl continued walking with her bare feet. Her feet had turned blue in chilling cold. "My leg, they are paining. Oh, it's so cold today," the girl said. In an old apron that she wore, she had bundles of matches and she also carried a bundle in her hand. She sat a corner in the street and waited for a customer to buy matches from her. She waited for a long time, but no one came to her. She never lost her hope and continued to wait for a customer. It was snowing heavily now. The poor little girl was shivering with cold and hunger. The snowflake fell on long hair and she wiped it off from her shoulder. She smelled a roast goose being cooked at a nearby house. People are celebrating today, but there's nothing to eat at my house. God, please help me to sell some matchstick." The little match girl then continued to wait for a customer. "Oh God, please help me to sell these matches. I also want to buy a goose for my family." She tried keeping her little feet underneath herself to cover from cold, but that was of no use. She wanted to go home because of the cold, but then what would she tell her family? Her father would definitely be angry at her if she returned home without any money in hand. She looked around the beautiful mansion in the street. She thought about her home. It had only a roof above and that too was full of holes. Her little hands were nearly frozen with cold now. I can light a match to warm my finger," she said. So at last she drew one match out and struck it. It gave out a warm, bright flame like a little candle, and she held her hands over it. The fire warmed her fingers. "Oh, it feels so good. I'm getting better now." But once the flame went out, she started feeling the cold again. So she rubbed another match against the wall. It burned brightly. Then miracle happened. She could see through the wall where the light of the match fell. She could see what was going on inside the house. She was being pushed into the world of fantasy. She could see everything in that room. There was a white cloth spread on the table, and there were some nice plates arranged on top of it. A stuffed roast goose was placed at the center, and it had a delicious smell. Then she saw something she couldn't believe. The goose jumped from the dish with a knife and fork still in its breast, and it ran straight toward the little girl. But the match went out and everything vanished quickly. Then she lit another match. This time she saw another fantasy. She was under the most beautiful Christmas tree, larger and far more prettily decorated than the one she had so far. She was fascinated by the Christmas tree. She walked forward and stretched out her hands to touch them, but then the match went out. Then she struck another match. This time she saw a long trail of light in the sky. She saw a long trail of light in the sky. It looks like a star has fallen from the heaven. It seems someone is going to die tonight, the girl said. It was her grandmother who told her there is a star fall from the sky, then someone will definitely die to send the soul back to heaven. She struck another match against the wall. In the brightness, she saw her dear old grandmother. She loved her grandmother a lot. Her grandmother always showed her with love and kindness. She moved the light to the front and saw the smiling face of her grandmother. She was so happy to see her grandmother right there. Then she started crying. Then the little girl said, "Oh, Grandma, please take me with you. I know we'll go away when the match burns out. You two will vanish like the New Year's feast and the beautiful Christmas tree." The little match girl didn't want her grandmother to leave. She knew that grandmother will vanish when the light burns out. So this time she lit the whole matchstick together. The match burned with a shining light. Grandmother then came close to the little girl. She looked at her with compassion. She took the little girl in her arms and flew up into the sky. They flew far above the earth, away from cold and hunger, to the heavens. The next morning, people gathered around the dead body of the little match girl. She was frozen to death previous night. Her body was leaning against the wall. With a smiling face, people wondered how could anyone die with a smiling face. But no one could imagine the beautiful things she had seen or how happily she had gone with her grandmother into the heavens. Maybe that's all from me, and the last I say, see you.